What once appeared as a path paved with Brexit gold now becomes a toll road of uncertainty.
There will be no downside to Brexit at all and considerable upside.
The promises that were once held high have dissolved into the abyss of paradox.
Position to get a better deal than ever before.
Britain will thrive and prosper.
The one thing which will not change is our ability to trade freely with Europe.
So the worst case scenario, economically, is better than where we are today.
There will be broad sunlit uplands.
We can see the sunlit meadows beyond.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have returned to the gaslighting. This is Davies. And as you saw earlier, he said this about Brexit in Parliament.
There will be no downside to Brexit at all and considerable upside.
An MP for the Conservative Party and pro-Brexit supporter. Have a listen to what he has to say now.
When we were going through the Brexit referendum, I had some builders working on my house. And every time I came home on the Friday, they'd say, well, what are you doing, Mr. Davies? It'd be a different group each time. And when George Osborne had made his prediction of a £4,000 per family penalty, right? I drove into my courtyard and the quite clever man who ran the building company, pulled himself up by his bootstraps from his background, said to me, Mr. Davies, £4,000 for my freedom, cheap at the price.
So a rich construction owner has now turned around and said, actually, £4,000's all right per family. That's the analysis, and that's what you just heard. No problems. Now we've got problems, but it's okay, because that's not an issue, £4,000. It's a drop in the well. So long as you're rich, or own a construction company. For everyone else, it's abject poverty. Even the United Nations has claimed that this, Brexit, is a particular risk to British people in poverty. Going so far as to say that it's the 5th richest country in the world. This is not just a disgrace, but a social calamity and an economic disaster, all rolled into one. The UN investigator inspector went on to say that 14 million people currently live in poverty. This is 2018. And 4 million of them live 50% below the poverty line. 1.5 million are destitute, which means they are unable to afford basic essentials. But not only that, he says the word freedoms, and that video is from 2023, where they've just passed a protest bill to restrict and curtail your freedoms, your right to protest, based under anything the police deem suspicious or not suspicious. They've also hammered striking rights, and on top of that, you could even go so far as to say this is going to affect your religious rights to protest.
So it's not all about economy, although that will turn.
So get on with it. It's going to cost you more. Get on with it and enjoy your freedom.
Well, we should get on with it.
That's right. Mr. Davies, along with all the other Brexiteers, has just turned around and said to you, just get on with it. Get on with the poverty. After full-blown denial and advertising and campaigning saying everything was going to be better, he's now telling everyone just to get on with it, despite the fact that everyone is £4,000 worse off.
No, I didn't say it's going to cost you.
He literally just said a story about a clever construction worker telling him how £4,000 worse off is worth it for freedoms. And now he is full-blown denying it. Are you starting to see the patterns of gaslighting? He tells you one thing and then denies that he said it.
I said we should get on with it.
Imagine you just bought this car and you've been told that this is going to be better, a bigger engine, cheaper to run. But you can't take it for a test drive. You pay, you drive off, and you discover it's smaller, lamer, slower than the original. Are you telling me you wouldn't take it back to the dealership? Because that's what you've just been told by this man. Because you need to...
Well, we should get on with it.
With our freedoms being restricted in similar ways to that of Mussolini, or Franco, who had the exact same main bill, and the protest bill having similar restrictions to that of Vladimir Putin, it's pretty galling to hear someone like this go, yeah, it's going to cost you more, and we're taking away your freedoms. This is the exact opposite of what was offered by the Brexiteers, which was recently and eloquently put by Marina Purkis.
Freedom of speech, and that you think this is absolutely fine for the police to do this, to preemptively arrest people, to stop them exercising their democratic right. It's like saying you're a vegan and then eating steak.
Which she also attributed to the author, which was me.
This is so dangerous, because I know some people who are going to be monarchists are going to be like, good, or people that don't like the Just Stop Oil people, about good, get rid of them. But one day, you might need to protest against, I don't know, maybe the government sends your mortgages soaring, or maybe they're going to erect a massive tower block outside your house. If you need to protest, this is basically them saying they have criminalised protest. And they've criminalised protest.
I mean,
they have criminalised protest. I'm sorry, Peter,
true,
they have criminalised protest. This new public order bill, Priti Patel's work, has criminalised protest at the discretion of the government and also the police, the Met Police, who, by the way, have been found to be institutionally misogynistic, racist and corrupt. And that, to me, is a really scary place to be.
And those same laws can be found with all three of these dictators. And I will be doing a more in-depth video of how the protest bill has stark, dark similarities to that of the 1920s, Franco, Mussolini, and now modern era, Putin and Orban. In the meantime, thank you very much for listening. Thank you to all my supporters from both Patreon and YouTube. If you'd like to become one, link is in the description. Otherwise, take care and see you soon.